Good morning, good morning. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Deja, Jackie, whatever y'all call me. And we got a little cloudy weather today, but it's going to be nice and warm, so I'll take it. My allergies are not too bad today, so that's a good thing. Let me see what the pollen level is today. Alexa, what's the pollen level today?
Today, there will be very high levels of tree pollen and high levels of grass pollen. Levels of ragweed pollen will be low.
Oh, so it's both today. Wow. Maybe because I took medicine last night. Probably won't start bothering me till later. But, yeah, I'll see. Well, today, this podcast is mainly for women. But you have some women out here that's just like how I'm going to explain about these men. Y'all know I teach these kids, and I have to because I don't want them to get caught up in negative situations as they get older, to going through pain and hurt for no apparent reason, but just because no one taught them, and I'm going to be the one to teach them. We teach them every day on social media. However, I'm not getting on social media. I'm just doing the podcast and then getting to my schooling. But we're going to talk about egotistical men, and narcissists. Okay, we're going to talk about those type of men today. And I've had my encounters of a few of them, so I'm going to give y'all different scenarios of these narcissist men. A narcissist, what they would try to do is try to make you feel like the ball is in their court and they are pretty much whatever they say goes. Okay, and you are the wrong one if you refuse. Okay? You can be as honest as possible with a narcissist, and they will continuously feel like things are your fault or why things are not going right. And narcissists may not only be a mate, it could be just a friend. Okay, and it could be a woman, it could be a male. But you have to watch out for these things. Now, the way I was brought up was you be honest to get honesty. When you ask a question, when a person asks you a question, you answer it to the best of your ability. Okay? That's like if my, say, mates saw me with someone else, and this is why I don't do wrong, okay? Because I don't like being caught in situations where I have to lie. Because it doesn't do anything but hurt me in the long term. So I'm going to use this for instance. There was a guy that came into my life, and I was in a relationship, and he wanted to date me. And I kept telling him no because I have respect for my mate. Even though me and my mate was going through it, I still have to have respect for my mates. Okay? Reason being, because you don't want it to be said or feel guilty about doing something negative in a relationship where it is your fault. So you stay clear and free of all the negativity until everything prevails itself and, you're single again, and then you can go ahead and move on or whatever the case may be. However, this person didn't understand that. Like, how is it, I like you, you like me. Why is it we won't pursue our relationship. Well, that right there is an ego trip, okay? Which we would call an ego trip, and a little crazy, too, Some people feel like they are so important that no matter what is around them, only they matter. Nobody else's feelings. And you have to watch out for these type of people. You got to look at these red flags. Now, I had another one that I met. He's married. And he broke up with his wife. And he says, I want to be with you. I want to live with you. I want our relationship to work. And I said, okay, but there's going to be stipulations to living with me. There's boundaries living with me. And he says, well, what's these boundaries? So I told him, I said, well, one, you have to start your divorce. And two, you can't be running in and out of the house because this particular person likes to party and, be out in the clubs all night and stuff like that. So, and I live a stable lifestyle. So I'm like, you can't do those type of things. So he tried to turn it around and say, well, you just hard to deal with. But never once asked why. Why do you have these boundaries set? Okay, this is where the ego comes in at. Okay? Instead of him saying, let me ask her why does she have these boundaries like this? Instead of saying, oh, I'm not going to be that man that she's going to put on a hold. Okay, that's where the ego comes in. I'm going to pull back. Instead of saying, hey, let me find out why. Communication is always the key. And when a man or woman does not want to communicate, their intentions are bad. Okay? Or they are a narcissist. Okay? And it's the only two things that tells us these red flags about these people. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell y'all the reason why I can't personally be with a man. I don't know about anybody else, but this is just me. I can't be with a man that's married to another woman because it's wrong. It's wrong. You can get with this married man. He can be your living so-called playmate. And then he can pick up and go right back to his wife, into his marriage. His wife has the right, while she's married to him, and entitlements to everything y'all build. Okay? The wife overstands everything, including kids. So, I don't like, personally, those type of things in my life because I like to keep things low-key. I like to keep my family safe. I like to keep my mind stable. I don't like drama, and I love peace. But if he would have asked me, I would have told him. He never decided to ask me. Now, with the coming into my house at a certain time and being indoors, is because I live in a community where we have a time frame on our paperwork, the HOAs, where they do not want people in and out making noise after a certain time during the week because people have to work. Okay? If you come in my neighborhood, you will see those that work first shift go to work, come home. Then you'll see the second shift people go to work, come home. They come home about 11. Security does its rounds at 9 and 11. Okay, just to double check the community and make sure everything is good. They do know on the weekends that the community comes out and, maybe be outside a little while to about 11, 12. That's the rules. And where you go, you have to follow the rules. There's even communities, meaning with houses and stuff. These are condos, but with houses. And after 9 o'clock, you're not roaming the neighborhood. Unless you're walking a dog, unless you are on the, what they call it, street watch, or I forget what they call it, y'all. But I had a neighborhood where we would go out. It'd be a different person every other day or whatever the case may be. Go out, walk, and make sure the community is good. Police watch or whatever it's called. But they do it themselves. They don't use the police. It's within the community. So instead of him asking me, well, why do you have all these boundaries and stipulations? I would have told him based on where I live at. I have to have these rules. These rules are in place. I have to follow them. Now, on the weekends, we party. This is what we do. Sometimes we do it during the week. But by 10 p.m., we quiet it down because people have to go to work. And they all own, not all, but some of them own their condos. And they have their rights. That's the way it works. So fortunately, that didn't work out. He couldn't live with me because he wants to do things differently. Okay, instead of trying to understand where I was coming from, I become this mean boundary setting person to him. You just mean, your attitude is, but I'm not standing just for myself. I'm standing for others. I can't lead if I'm going to be like everybody else. And see, that's what people forget. When you're dealing with me, I'm an owner of a nonprofit. And I'm a leader in the community. So when you're dealing with me, you have to be a part of that. I just can't have people around doing just anything. That's just what it is. I have an image to hold. And my image is easy for me because I was brought up in a community where we did the same thing. At a certain time, coming from the South Bronx, Cortland Avenue, at a certain time during the week when people had to work and go to school the next day, people wasn't running in and out or over the block making noise and doing all these type of things. We were in our homes. Lights out. Time to go to bed. Stability. So now I become the bad guy because of how I was brought up, even though I come from the South Bronx. But I came from a stable community. Then I had this other guy that would say to me when I ask him a question and he won't give me an answer. He acts like I'm a psychic or something. You know, not a psychic. That I'm supposed to know what he's feeling or what he's trying to tell me. But if you don't voice it, meaning communicate, I will never know. As they say, no response is a response. So when I ask for an answer, he tells me that I'm being confrontational. That's ways of a narcissist. Because they don't want to answer the question. They'll make it seem as if you are the problem. And these are the red flags that we have to look for. And sometimes they don't even know that they're being narcissists. That's what makes it so bad. Okay? But it's their ego. I had another guy tell me, no, we was having a discussion. And I told him, I said, listen, you're not giving me what I want in a relationship. So I would like to move on and start dating. You know, I don't like this relationship. You know, I'm used to doing more. I'm used to having more with my mates. I really don't like this relationship. They didn't want to discuss it. They hung up the phone on me. So it's like, you know, it's a one-sided relationship. Like, okay, it's your way or no way. We will not discuss or communicate my feelings at all. My feelings don't exist. I shouldn't even have any feelings. That's a red flag of a narcissist. When they're not going to come to the medium and understand how you feeling and put themselves in your shoes, you're dealing with a narcissist. When they start feeling like they're everything and you're nothing, those are things, key red flags that you have to pay attention to avoid long-term problems. I had this other dude, all he worried about is my past relationships. And I say, okay, well, why do you keep worrying about my past relationships? Oh, you want to know why me and these people broke up? Or do you want to know about them so you can reenact how they are? That's a form of narcissist behavior. You don't need to know about my past relationships. You just need to know that I had these past relationships. They didn't work for whatever reason. And it's over. Because every relationship is different. Like, I broke up with my husband because he kept going to jail. I couldn't do it no more. And he kept messing up all our money in our joint account. I couldn't do it no more. I broke up with my daughter's father of 16 years because he had some issues. We went through some battles and hard battles within the last 3 years of living in North Carolina. And we just couldn't face the fire anymore together. You don't need to go deep into why a relationship didn't work with the person's past relationships. You have to learn for yourself and see it for yourself. And this is why we teach about these red flags. Because what other people may see, someone else may see it differently. Depending on what level mind frame they're on. This is why we teach. So you can recognize the red flags and get ghosts. Or help your mate recognize the red flags so they can change. And get up to speed what's going on in real life. Now I had this other mate. I told him, I said, well, we need to go out. We need to do more. And he kept not wanting to go out. I don't know if he was having financial problems or whatever the case may be. Instead of coming to me saying, I'm having serious financial problems, so I can't, at this moment, do the things that I want to do for you. They just kept running. So in my eyes, over here with no explanation, no communication, tells me you just don't want to go out with me. But you want to date. Okay, so I put you in the friend zone because you're not meant to be a mate of mine because you can't even be honest with me. Red flag. If they can't communicate whatever is going on in their lives and they continuously feel like they're your mates, something is wrong. When you're in a relationship, you see your mate every day, you talk to your mate every day, y'all talk loves, hugs, problems, it doesn't matter. When you're in a relationship, a 400% relationship, that's the way it works. I've been doing this thing for a long time. Even with your best friends. I had a friend up in Maryland. She was a female. And she was just my friend. And we talked every single day. Every single day. I wouldn't feel right if I didn't speak to her. That's what bonding as friends is. When you talk to someone every single day of your life, you're forming a bond. That's the way it works. You're forming a soul tie. I can't call you my friend if we don't have a soul tie. Because I'm supposed to know everything about you, every move you make. That's how you build relationships. You don't have to be together every single day, but you're going to speak to that person every single day. Even if it's just, hey, what you doing? Are you all right? You good? All right. I'll talk to you later because I'm running around doing blah, 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 blah. We would get frustrated, me and my friend up in Maryland, would get frustrated. Like one of us be going through some things. The first person we call is our friend. Because that's the person that's going to listen. That's the person that's going to soothe you. That's the person that's going to tell you whether or not you were wrong or whether you were right. That's that person you can trust. You can't build that if you're not communicating. So there's no relationship there. And that goes with anything. I mean, with anyone. Whether it's just a girlfriend that you're chilling with, or a mate that you're trying to build with. This is how strong friendships, come together. Like when I got with my daughter's father, we built a friendship first. We were just friends. At first, we didn't talk every day. Then it went from not talking every day to talking maybe 3 times a week. Then it went from talking 3 times a week to 5 days a week to 7 days a week to where we were together every single day. There was no me without him. There was no him without me. That ended up in a 16-year relationship. Because we didn't feel complete if we wasn't with each other or around each other. Even when we broke up, we still didn't feel complete. He would call me. I would call him. Because we didn't feel complete. That's a soul tie. That's a bond in a relationship. When you're not building that with a person, then they're not the person that you want to be with. Because they're blocking that soul tie. And if they're blocking that soul tie, they're leaving it open for someone else to come in and grab a hold of your soul. And then y'all will build a soul tie. I had this one guy say to me, I said, well, I'm going to be going out with I'm going to start dating, and, a few guys ask me out to dates, Come on, let's go hang out, or let's do this, let's do that. I'm like, okay, because I haven't been in the dating scene for 16 years. That's just the facts. Because I've been with one mate for 16 years. We broke up a couple of months, and always came back. This is the longest we've been apart. And I haven't really been in the dating scene. So it's like, okay, I need to get myself ready for this dating scene. However, you always have those that want to latch on to you and feel like, okay, they're a part of you. In actuality, they're really not. They're playing a narcissistic role in your life. And then when you decide that you want to go and date and have fun because they're not doing it with you, you're wrong. So anyway, getting back to me telling this narcissistic friend that, listen, I'm going to start dating. I just want to let you know so that way you won't be feeling like, you could just pop up at any time or call and say, hey, I'm coming over because I may be on a date or have company or whatever the case may be. You're not my man because if you was, we would have that soul tie. And I wouldn't even be looking at dating or going out with anybody else. You wouldn't even see nobody else. That's the way it works. I was with my mate for 16 years. And when we were together, one time in my life, I seen somebody else mentally only because they was on the same wave of the type of work I was into. And my mate wasn't. My mate wasn't supportive in the things that I was doing. And that's a red flag as well. Okay. Anytime your mate is not supportive in what you're doing, it's a red flag. Because even if you fail, they should be supportive. I was out the other night. It was funny because I got out the car and this guy said, I'm always out marketing. So I got out the car and this guy, he was ready for me to get out the car. And he had his girlfriend's card ready. And he said, hey, I said, well, I want to give you my card. I'm fast with it. And he was like, I want to give you my girlfriend's card too. She does hair. And I was like, for real? He's like, yeah, she's in the store. Talk with her. I smiled. And the reason why I smiled is because he was supporting his girlfriend. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We support each other whether we fail or not. So when a mate is not supporting you, and I'm not saying supporting you financially, supporting you with trying to help you build, that's a red flag. And see, that's one of the problems that I had with my past relationship. My mate wasn't supporting me. So it opened up a soul tie for someone else. That's how because that's what you seek. Your soul craves stuff. Okay? Our Holy Spirit guides us. But if the soul is not complete, it's going to crave what it needs. It's like when you're hungry and you craving food, it's the same way. Your soul is going to continue to crave that until you get it. This is why a lot of relationships don't work, because people will, one, either break that soul tie, or they just won't. How can I explain it? I want to try to explain it so y'all can understand it. They will, okay, just like I was saying with my ex. He wasn't supportive, so he opened up a part of my soul that was seeking someone else that would have been supportive to fill the void. Okay, this is why communication is the key. Because once you tell your mates how you are feeling and they're not considerate of who you are and your feelings as a human being, they open up that soul more and more and more until you find what you're looking for or what you're seeking, what your soul is seeking. That's how relationships become broken. And that's just the bottom line. You might be there financially. You might be there sexually. You might be there, to care and help me. But if I'm missing one piece, I'm incomplete. Just like a puzzle. You could put the whole puzzle together. But if that one piece is missing, it's incomplete. The puzzle is not finished. You can't hang it on a wall because it's not complete. You can't glue it together and try to make it complete because it's not complete. The same way with our souls. Our souls crave certain things. And if we don't get that, we feel incomplete. And we go out and search it and find it. But communication, by communicating that's why we have marriage counselors and all of that stuff. Because they say, try marriage counseling before you break up your marriage. Because it could be something that's small that you're doing to make that other soul feel incomplete. And it will destroy your whole marriage. It's all about a soul tie, people, when you're in a relationship. And once that soul has been tied, that's when you get married. That's when you feel the need that I need to make this one because our souls are already tied. You don't just get married because, this person has a good job. I know I'll be financially stable. That's the way it looks today. But that don't mean it's going to look that way next week or 2 months from now. Because sicknesses come about, people lose their jobs, tables turn. But if you have that soul tie, it doesn't matter. Once that soul tie has been broken, whether either mate has broken it, there's no more relationship. It could be a small piece. There's no more relationship. You can't be someone's 25, 75% in their soul. A person can't walk around with soul attachments to all these different people. It's not good for your soul. You're incomplete. And you're constantly seeking until you find that missing piece of that puzzle piece. You can't hold on to an incomplete puzzle. Unless you're going to find the piece and put it in there and make it complete. Now, like with my ex-mate, I used to tell him all the time. He worked at the same company I worked at. And I would say to him, we just worked in a different area. And then he worked in one area and I worked in the other. I worked in one building, he worked at the other building. And I used to always tell him, I said, well, look, you work up here and I work down here. If you help market the business up there and I'll market the business down here, we can be successful. His theory was, I'm not doing it. He didn't want no parts of it. It was my project. But it's to help build us both. Because we're one. Our souls are one. So anything I have is yours. Anything you have is mine. You claim you're struggling because you're paying all the bills because I don't make enough, but I'm trying to help us make enough. Because of his ignorance and his narcissistic, egotistical ways, he lost the missing piece. And I looked for that elsewhere. You might have been majority of the puzzle, but that one piece you were missing. Now I've met a new guy, and he's missing a lot of pieces to the puzzle. And I have to go and seek what I'm missing. Because it's not with him. You're not giving me what I need. So I still got to seek out what I need. And I'm telling you this. But you're still making it seem like it's me. Those are red flags. And those are things that we have to look out for in relationships. People have to understand that when you're playing with soul ties, you're playing with God. This is why I only try to get with people that has some type of religion within their soul, because they will understand what they are supposed to do. Because the way God has it set, one man, one woman, and no one is supposed to be able to break that union. Whether they're government married or soul tie married. No one is to break that union. And if that union is meant to be broken, then once it's broken, you can't go back unless that one piece that was missing and that soul is fixed. That's the way it works, people. We wouldn't have so many marriages and divorces if people would just sit down and communicate. That's all it takes. Well, honey, what am I doing wrong? I'm going to use this for instance. I used to work 70 hours a week. 70 hours a week. And I would come home and sleep and go right back to work. My days off was Wednesday and Sunday. I had to take on the responsibility of doing my job on Wednesdays and Sundays because I didn't have, they didn't have no one to pick up the pieces while I wasn't at work. And then I would be working long days instead of being at home with my family early, being able to have dinner with them. So I took on the responsibility of working my job 7 days a week, pretty much, so I can get home at a certain time and see my kids before they go to bed. So my relationship wasn't going right, and I couldn't understand it. Okay, this is me and my daughter's father. I was like, "What's going on? Something ain't right." I felt it. You know, I felt that soul tie being broken, and I said, "Something ain't right." So I went to counseling. I set an appointment. I said, I'm going to counseling, tell them all about my relationship. And the counselor said to me, she said, Jackie, well, you work a lot of hours, okay? And I know you are the breadwinner of the family. So you're going to have to do just like a man would do if he was the one that was the breadwinner. And I said, well, what is that? Take your mate on special trips and y'all do things together. And I was like, okay. So I immediately came home and I told my mate, I said, I'm going to book us a special Valentine's up at Atlantic City. Atlantic City wasn't that far from us, about an hour away. I said I'm get a babysitter for the kids for the weekend, and I'm going to take us, and we're going to go out, and we're going to spend time together. I didn't know that I was wrong. I didn't know that going to work, coming home, sleeping all the time was wrong. Because I knew they had everything they needed. Anything they wanted, they asked for, they got it. The whole family. What you need? I gave them the car. Here you go. How much you need? Here you go. But he was lacking love and spending time with me without the children. So I had to step up to the plate. Like a man would. And say, okay, well, I'm going to take my baby out, and do some things. And that's what I did. And it helped our relationship so much. But I was able to recognize that I was losing a soul tie. I felt it. Something is not right. I'm missing something. What is it? And that's what made me go to counseling. Because I needed someone else to tell me where I was doing wrong. Because he wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't communicate it to me. He would not come to me and say, I'm starting to feel like this because I'm always here with the kids and I don't have a life pretty much. I'm a stay-at-home dad and it's like this is all I do. He wouldn't come to me and say that. So from that point on, I made it my business. Every Friday night, I would take my whole family out. Every Friday. Friday was my least hard work day. Thursday was I made Thursday a hard day for me due to the fact of me wanting to get home early on Friday just so I can take my family out and be with them. I made it my business. And I did it for years. And it worked for years. Some Fridays I might come home, I'm not feeling well. So I'll tell my mate, I said, look, we can't go out tonight, but we can order out and, we can watch a movie or do something because I'm not feeling good this week, whatever the case may be. And they will understand because I made it my business. Having a relationship and having a family is just not financially taking care of them. Okay? It's coming together and making sure that everyone gets a piece of you. That's the way it works. And I had to learn that going to counseling. Because I knew something was incomplete. I knew my puzzle pieces was getting lost. My soul tie didn't feel right. I said, something ain't right. You have to be able to recognize it. And when you recognize it, go seek out what it possibly can be and be honest. Be honest. Because if you're not honest, you're not going to get honesty in return. So you can fix the issue. That's the way it works. Just like when me and my significant other broke up. He didn't want no parts of the business. He said he fell out of love. I accepted that. He was honest. We had no more soul attachment. The soul attachment was gone. And the reason why the soul attachment was gone, because when I needed him the most to help me and help and support, he didn't. So I broke that soul attachment. I threw away that missing piece because he wouldn't give it to me. Well, he threw away the missing piece. I'm sorry. He threw away the missing piece. And when he threw away that missing piece, I had to go seek it elsewhere. So now I'm not only attached to his soul, I'm attached to another soul as well. Because I have to seek what I need, that missing puzzle piece, elsewhere. But in reality, that's all that missing piece that I was seeking elsewhere, that's all it was. Because I wanted it from my mates and couldn't get it. No matter how stupid you think you may feel or look in a relationship, okay, and you're building soul ties, it's right. No matter what outsiders are telling you, oh man, you're starting to look crazy. They call it crazy in love. That's when your soul is attached into this other person. It's filling your needs. You're working to do things right because you want this feeling, this good feeling, this heavenly feeling. Because love don't hurt. It may make you feel like you're crazy sometimes, but it don't hurt. You may feel crazy, but you feel good. That's the way it works. And if you can't build a soul tie with a person, there's no relationship. And that's just what it is. So people have the tendency to want to throw their narcissistic ways in the midst because they don't want a soul tie. No, it's not my fault you don't want to feel good. So you go mess around with the other people that want all these different souls in their lives. We call those devils. Because Christians and religious people, we only want one soul tie. If we don't have that full soul tie, we're incomplete. One mate is all we need to have, one soul tie. We don't want 15 different soul ties. Y'all ever heard, what's that, I think it was Freddy Krueger. Was it Freddy Krueger? Yeah, Freddy Krueger, I think. And they said he's the baby of 100 men. The same with you. You don't want to be the barrier and soul tied to 100 men. Or 100 women. They try to make it, they got this thing on social media where, it's okay to have a sneaky link. It's okay to have a cheating man. No, it's not. It's not. Even if a man is building a soul tie with just a friend, it could damage a relationship. I have an old saying like, before you come into your home, you're supposed to leave everything from the outside of your home outside. Because you and that mate inside that house, y'all all have soul ties. Some people just like to have sexual soul ties. It's not good because the puzzle's incomplete. Okay, we may be tied together sexually, but what about everything else? The puzzle that's only one piece. That's only one piece. You're not fully in love with a person until every piece of the puzzle has been put together. Meaning, you pretty much feel like you can't live without this person. Y'all need to be together. You wake up and this is the person you think about. Let me go see what we call my baby. Let me see what's going on. That's the way it works. That person becomes very, very important to you. Next to yourself and God. That's when you know your soul tie is complete. But you can't play on those soul ties. Because what happens is you start losing the pieces of the puzzle. And that's what narcissists and people with egos do. You start losing those pieces of puzzles. And then you're saying, well, why is things not going right? I thought I was trying. That's why I say some people don't even know they have narcissistic ways or that their ego is so high. Or they're pulling back from a soul tie. So yeah, guys, y'all gotta make sure that you know these red flags. And if you're missing pieces, you get up out of that relationship. I had to tell my significant other, I said, listen here. You're not going to make me a whore. Because that's what happens. Men and women make each other whores. The reason why is because they're missing something and they're seeking that in all these different people. Instead of trying to seek it in one person. And you got your whores out there that they sell themselves for money. That's a whole nother thing. But when it comes to being single and you're dealing with all these different souls, it's because you're seeking something. You get one thing from one person, one thing from another person. So you have a puzzle that's different colors. The pieces don't look right. They don't match. You know, when you put a puzzle together, the picture is beautiful. Well, this picture is awkward. It's you may have a picture of a tree branch in one corner, and then right next to it, you may have the dirt, which is supposed to be at the bottom of the puzzle, but is at the top of the puzzle. It's incomplete, and it will remain incomplete until they figure out which one they want to fully go soul tie with. But by that point, they have all the souls of these women or men in their life. That's not how it's supposed to be. One mate. That's it. That's all you need. Some people will even have long distance relationships just so they can have one soul tie. Because they don't want to have all these different people's souls in their body, in their mind, in their heart. Because then it's too many voices talking. You ever heard people say, I hear too many voices? Those are all the souls that you're tied to. When you're tied to all of these souls, the good energy can't come in because they're blocking it. Because they're incomplete. So you will remain incomplete. That's the way it works. I tried to break it down as simple as possible so you guys can understand what you're doing to yourself. It has nothing to do with how you get patted on the back because you got all these girls, or you call yourself single and you're running around with these different people and being free. But being free comes with a cost. And that cost is you're tied to all these souls. And what they go through, you go through. Bits and pieces. This is why I don't like to be tied to all these different souls. I try to find one, complete the puzzle, and be with that one even if we go through issues. And hoping and praying that they will get it together. And if they don't, then I'm gone. I break all soul ties. The whole puzzle, I shut it down, tear up all the pieces and throw it away. Clear my energy and move on. And don't bring that negative energy and soul tie with the past to the present. Because for one, it's not fair to that person. It's like I had to tell a guy he wanted to date me, and I was just getting out of a relationship with my significant other, my ex-significant other. And he says, well, wow, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? I need to break the soul tie. I have to break the soul tie. Once I break the soul tie, then we can date. But until then, I cannot do that. So let me break the soul tie. So what I had to do was make him, my significant other, totally hate me to let go. Because he was still holding on. He was still holding on. And I said, I got to get rid of the soul tie. Because there was puzzle pieces missing, but it was still a formation of that puzzle still put together. And I had to get rid of it. I had to get rid of all of it. And I'm like, okay, how can I get rid of all of this? This negative feeling, I got to talk about it. I got to, like he had called me and said, because I got on social media, I talked about it on here. And he was like, well, why is you doing this? Because I have to release you. Because you're not releasing me. You're trying to hold on to me. I need you to release my soul so I can move on. And that was 16 years worth of soul tie that I had to release. But once I released it, I was good. Now we have I'm not going to say we have the best relationship, but we have a simple relationship as co-parents. But the soul tie is no longer there. I did not want to take that into another relationship because it would not be fair to someone that wants to build a soul tie with me and complete the puzzle, and they can't because a couple of the pieces are missing because it's over here with this dude. That's not how it works, people. You can't have puzzles of Tom, Dick, and Harry. You can't do that. It causes confusion, not only within them, but within you. The Holy Spirit don't know how to move for you because you got so many souls up in you. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. So y'all just, learn and watch people. When y'all meeting people and, y'all ever heard, what's that saying, if I let it go and it comes back, then it was yours? That's not a true saying because y'all could have just had a piece of a soul tie. And it's going to come back anyway. But if it wasn't a complete soul tie, it's still going to be problems there. That's why it's best to release. I had a friend, he's a pastor. He used to work at my job. And him and his wife had broke up. And I said to him, don't worry, y'all get back together. He said, no, we're not. And I said, well, why? He said, because I don't want it back. He was breaking the soul tie. Whatever she did to him hurt him so bad and took away a lot of the puzzle pieces. He just wanted to throw the whole puzzle away. He said, I'm throwing it away. I'm done with that. I don't care if it takes me 20 more years to find another wife. But that one, I don't want. And he got rid of that soul tie. He refused. Know how hard. But the thing about it is, as soon as he got rid of that soul tie, he elevated. So you see, she had soul ties with others that blocked both of their blessings. But when he released that soul tie totally, he elevated. So you see how it works? That's the way it works. Sometimes we have to release certain soul ties in order to elevate. And that's just what it is. It could be friends. It could be a mate. If their energy is holding on to too many other souls that's negative, that negative energy is going to trickle down to you. It's a domino effect. And it's going to block all your blessings. Unless you let go of the soul tie. Then you open up the door. You ever heard God is going to open up the door, or the door is right there. The devil's standing in front of it, but all you got to do is go through. I don't know if y'all ever heard that saying. They talk these things on Facebook and all these social medias, but they don't break it down to you guys. Because the people today, things have to be broken down to them. It has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, they're not going to follow it. This is why I get on my podcast and I break it down. I try to break it down to the simplest form for people to understand. When you're tied to all of these different souls, it blocks blessings. And that's the way it is. The negative energy. Have you ever seen mates go into hibernation? They just going to work, coming home, taking care of their family. And the next thing you know, they bust out with new cars, new houses, businesses. Because their souls was attached and started working together. There was no negative energy that was able to come in. They had a force field. A force field of protection. And they start elevating. Like, okay, I'm going to use me and my significant other, for instance. That's the way it works. Whether it just be a friend or a mate. That's how it works, people. So I just want to throw that out there and get y'all to understand a little bit more about soul ties, narcissists, and egos. People have to recognize when the egos is through the roof. Because we all bleed the same blood, breathe the same air. It ain't nobody better than nobody. I had to tell a friend of mine that the other day. He said, I feel like I'm on top of the world. Ain't you supposed to feel like that? You do, but to a certain extent. Not when you feeling like you better than everybody around you. Because anything that goes to the top can always come back down. Especially when you have soul ties with all these different people. Those type of people fall faster than anybody. And that's just what it is. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. I hope y'all have a wonderful day and think about the reality of how you're treating people and why negative energy always attacks you. Sometimes you need to go seek help and talk about it so that way you can understand why things are failing for you. Or why things are incomplete for you. I'm not going to say failing, incomplete. I'll talk to you soon.